Hold on. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. I did the wrong one.
Dun, 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 dun.
I have a giant finger.
This explains so many things. And raises so many more questions.
What's happening, Casey? Good to see you.
Should I be following the finger? What are we doing?
Follow the finger.
Fetch boy.
Blood and Teeth's here. What's happening, everyone?
Hey,
Welcome
what's
to
up,
Amico.
Blood Teeth?
Welcome
Hey,
to
David.
Amico
Hey,
Forever.
Mr. Post-dental work.
David's in the house.
Dental work.
And NLG.
Oh,
So
there's Brother Mike.
just to go over at the beginning, you saw the rules when you clicked on the chat here, and you agreed to those. Please, no harassing, no mocking, name calling, bullying. Be nice to one another. Our bouncers are ready to bounce, so we try to keep this clean and fun and safe. And let's start the show. Let's see.
We do shows here?
Yeah, we're
I'm
gonna
in
do
the
a
I'm in the
show.
wrong stream.
Now, I wanted to open it. I wanted to start.
Hey, Stashnet.
I want to introduce, by the way, Geeks with Cash, which is this lovely young gentleman next to me right here, and then, then below me is another lovely young gentleman, and he is the Retro Advisory Board, other known as RAB.
I'll take the young. It's good. Thank you.
And I'm just an old silly man. But I had gotten a couple packages here I wanted to open live, and this one here I got from a fellow YouTuber here. I believe he's in the chat today. Live in the moment. So I'm going to open this up live on the show. And
yeah,
hey, Andy.
I keep that off camera until you find out what it is.
Oh, dude.
Future's looking good, I hope.
Ooh, I got to look. Okay. Speaking of future, how about Back to the Future 3, anyone?
It should have been the second one's car, but
that is awesome.
Still awesome.
Or a train.
Hey, Jesse.
It's got the train wheels on.
Oh, the train one would be dope. That would be cool.
Dude, it's got the train wheels on it?
It's a little bent because I think it was probably...
Does it have two train wheels?
Yeah, it's got the train wheels.
Oh, I think it does. Oh, that's pretty cool then. Okay, I like it.
That is awesome, dude. Hold on.
Hey, live in a moment. I still like the second version.
Dude, there's more.
Yo.
A Johnson Brothers hat.
Nice.
I always love hats. I will wear that.
Hats are good.
The hats are awesome. Oh,
you have a beautiful day.
Oh, check this
out.
Rob? Mad Magazine spoof sci-fi fantasy Star Wars.
Nice. I haven't seen Mad Magazine in forever.
Oh my God, I was just talking about Mad Magazine the other day. Dude. Oh, hey, there's a...
Hey, Sweet and Tenor.
Hey, Sweet and Tenor.
Yeah, the last time I saw a Mad magazine, I think the assistant
Dude.
principal took one away from me. Took a couple away. Had to have a talk about inappropriate stuff to bring to school.
What? There's
Yes.
nothing that
That is
inappropriate
awesome,
about
man.
Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so. I am literally gonna read this whole magazine tonight because that's the type of time I have on my hand. I love Mad. I always had it as a kid. So thank you. Live in the moment. You are awesome. You are so awesome, dude. And I'd love to hear with it. I love hats. So that is amazing. And this will go. I'm gonna have to have, as you see, I just redid everything back here. I put up a whole bunch of stuff here. But I have some Back to the Future memorabilia, so I will add this to this. Thank you so much.
He's only been gifted foam fingers at basketball games.
That's all I get is foam fingers, guys. Only
everywhere he
It's the
goes,
only
he gets
glove
the
that will
finger.
fit your obnoxiously large fingers, sir.
It's
Man
just
gets the finger everywhere he goes.
I tell you, I gotta get as I open this other one. Don't even say anything. Also, I got another present from. This is from the Intellivision collector. If you're looking for homebrews, oops, I got to put up my banner here. If you're looking for homebrews and stuff to collect for Intellivision, the original games, some hardware, software. Casey, thanks, man. Yes, don't forget to smash the like button.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Casey.
so much. John Alvarado says, I love Mad Magazine. When I was a kid, had a big collection. Serge, yeah, dude, the margin cartoons when they would have the little things going on each margin. Oh,
I never got huge into Mad Magazine. I remember always seeing it going, that looks pretty neat, but it's never anything I dipped into. But I didn't really dive heavily into magazines as a kid, outside of like video game magazines and Nintendo Power for a while.
Oh yeah, those were epic. Like
I still wish I had my Nintendo Power.
Game Informer and all that stuff. Yeah, Nintendo Power. Then remember the Nintendo Fun Club?
I don't think I was ever a member of the Nintendo.
Oh, I was a member of the Nintendo Fun Club. They stopped sending me stuff.
I remember reading a lot of Mad magazines before they went in the cellophane.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this came from the Intellivision collector, so I guess now I'm finally. This is my first. I'm a shill now for real because I got something from Intellivision collector. But we'll just throw that over there. Oh, dude. I cannot wait to do reviews on these and look at these. Oh my god, brand new Intellivision games because we are an Intellivision live stream, for God's sake. Operation Cloudfire.
Now I don't know about this one.
This looks sweet. Platformer looks like. I remember seeing it briefly. I cannot wait to get into it.
It's kind of hard to see on the camera. It looks.
Can you read it?
Let me see if I can solo layout me here. So
it's not really helping how close it is to your lens to be able to see it.
Let me go back to normal here. So it says confidential message from corporate HQ. In response to Operation Cloudfire, be advised that the contact has been lost with our industrial mining colony in Proximia V. We believe that DARYL, Daryl, their AI central intelligence system has gone rogue, and they are apparently no human survivors. Wow, AI going rogue. That's not going to happen.
It's not timely.
As they just dance. As a Paladin class android, you were hereby tasked with Daryl's deactivation.
I'm afraid I can't do that, DJC.
What are you doing, DJC? Priority is to protect the corporate assets. No weapons are allowed. Destruction of corporate property of any kind is expressly forbidden. You must avoid all security bots and protection systems and your wits to maneuver your way through the colony and shut down Daryl for good. Wow, this dude.
What about his brother Daryl and his other brother Daryl?
All Daryls must go. No, but that is awesome. Operation Cloudfire, and there's one more. And oh my god, I've seen Papa Pete play this one. God, they look so beautiful. I'm so excited. Beachhead.
Aww.
I like that box art on both of those.
Dude, like look at that. Look at that.
I love the fact that they're still doing like the old Intellivision box art where it's like real artwork.
And that's
great.
These are both gatefold boxes. I'll have to do an opening on this. Oh, this, I mean, like once again, this looks like it's basically
look at that
a war
blur.
game. Yeah, you could play. It's like you shooting jet.
No, Blur has some blur.
Canadian Gamer says HAL 9000.
I'm assuming we're looking at some sort of sand.
Yeah, it's a beach. Well, there's a
like
beach,
a beach,
and there's like a aircraft carriers. So, okay, a peaceful island is being held by a ruthless dictator and his military troops. As chief commander of land sea forces in the Pacific, you must obtain a quick naval victory and then invade the island with land forces. Sounds like a lot of work. If your troops succeed in penetrating the island defense system, the most difficult challenge still remains: capturing the enemy fortress of Kunlun. Oh my god! So there's like 4 or 5 different things. You're shooting in battleships, and some you're storming the beaches. You're driving tanks.
Yep,
dude.
Multiple phases.
Thank you. I cannot. Reviews to come on this, dude, and I'm not biased. They're A+. Get them today. No, I thank you. So that is awesome. I cannot wait. So if you ever, and these are still available on Intellivisioncollector.com, because I've bought many from them, and they're fantastic. And I'm not making it up. If you're an Intellivision fan, go there for sure. But anyways, whew, that was a lot to say. Well, see you later. We'll see you next week's show.
Had a good stream, bye.
Yeah. Right. Let's see. We do have a chat poll. Up. It is, what is the best early light gun game on the NES? And the first 4 original ones, which were black box games, were Gumshoe. Why is there gum on his shoe? I don't know. To be honest, I don't even remember the relevance of that, but it sounds pretty cool.
It's up with all balloons.
Yeah. And then Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley, and then a lot of people's a cult favorite, Wild Gunman, as shown in Back to the Future. So right now, oops, as I have to mute that. So right now we have Duck Hunt, which is not surprising. It's a great light gun game. It's 64%. Hogan's Alley and Wild Gunman are tied at 13, and Gumshoe. Yes, there's votes for Gumshoe. 12%. Oh, it just tied with Hogan's Alley. Actually, it's a 3-way tie.
Favorite coming in.
It's a 3-way tie at 12%. All the other ones except Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt is the obvious.
Duck Hunt at 64 still.
I think just for difference, because I never really played the other 3. I have seen footage of Gumshoe, and that one's weird. Because you're just trying to get this detective who's a Gumshoe.
Right.
This Gumshoe across the stage by essentially shooting him.
Shooting. Yeah.
just a weird concept. Hogan's Alley seems kind of cool, but I think Wild Gunman just seems a little bit more interactive. Because Hogan's Alley is basically like a shooting gallery game.
Yeah.
Things come in, the cards flip, and then you shoot it, and then, whatever. So I'd probably go with Wild Gunman.
Yeah.
I do love me some Duck Hunt. That's the main one that I played with my NES Zapper.
I used to play that with
anything else for my NES Zapper.
I used to play that with my mom and dad. Actually, Duck Hunt was one of the ones where, because it was so interactive. I remember Christmas morning when I finally got it. I had it was the action set. When I finally got one, it was the triple set. It was the power, because I took a long time.
Didn't yours come with a power pad?
It was the power pad, and it had the triple cartridge with Super Mario, Duck Hunt, and World Class Track Meet on one cartridge. But yeah, the Duck Hunt was like a big hit on Christmas morning. Like we were shooting.
I got the action set, and that came with
To the Earth
and the 2 controllers.
To the Earth, was that a gun? There was a lot more other ones like Gotcha and a bunch of other games. Didn't Bayou Billy use some light gun as well?
I think it used light gun for a level.
I don't remember Bayou Billy using that, but then I never could get very far in Bayou Billy.
What's up, creep? What's happening?
I'm not really a reliable source there.
yeah, but the best black box, because I figured
Nintendo guy down.
I looked it up, and it was the first black box shooters were Duck Hunt, Gumshoe, Wild Gunman, and Hogan's Alley.
Yeah,
Hogan's Alley. They're all really great, to be honest. I love Hogan's Alley. I love Wild Gunman.
Yeah, some of those old consoles, I'd like to just own the console in a CRT just for the light gun games, just for the nostalgia of it. I wouldn't pick up the light gun games again unless I could get a CRT, because they just don't work. Literally, the mechanics behind the original light gun don't work on modern TVs.
I wonder if you could do. I want Hulk Hogan's Alley. That is awesome. It's like there's ducks, brother. There's
every time you shoot him, he goes, brother.
I'm trying to remember the reference.
You know what I was going to bring up since this is an Amico show? Is
it really?
There'd be a way to do some sort of. I mean, I know they could do kind of a light gun sort of thing because they got the motion control.
The Wii could do some motion controls just because of
like a skeet shoot or something, or
but,
but
the Wii was using the light bar sensor.
Yeah, the Wii was the last
need an
console I
accessory,
remember that did a lot of light gun games.
Now, do you think the Amico having, because I got one here, because they got a USB thing and an SD, is there a way maybe they could do a sensor? I don't know how stuff works.
I mean, they could possibly do a sensor, but I don't even know if they have an RF blaster on.
Demolition Man.
I don't know if they have an RF blaster on the front of it because that's kind of how the Wiimote worked.
Well, I mean, if you plugged that
an
accessory,
which meant it had an IR blaster on the controller. And I mean, you could make
you'd have to have a separate. You'd have to make a light gun or zapper style controller, then get a USB-C accessory to plug in the infrared. I guess.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess it would be possible.
Yeah, it's just whether or not they want to invest the time and infrastructure to be able to do something like that. I would like to see stuff like that come back. Matter of fact, this year, since we're getting things organized, we're moving a lot of stuff out of the loft and downstairs. I plan on building that arcade cabinet that my wife got me like years ago. I now have enough room to do it. So I'm on the fence if I'm going to do like a JAMA setup on it to load the games, or if I'm going to just put a Pi in it. The instructions call for putting a Pi in there. So I might do that, but I'm only going to load it up with more arcade shooters, like stuff like 1942 and fighters and things like that, and beat them up, stuff that would be fun to player. Or better with an arcade stick. And then I might eventually try to work a second one up because I nearly make a light gun now that's supposed to work with modern TVs. And so
that's what John was just saying about how they don't work with the art. I know that the old ones don't, but what was it? Is it the Sinden light gun, Nick? Is that the one you're talking about?
I think that's it. Yeah.
It works with, you could play the old games with the Sinden on an LCD.
That's my understanding. Yes.
Yeah. So they can do something like that. I think like a can shoot or skeet shoot or, something with nothing with, obviously they're not going to do anything violent with like animals or something, like people or even ducks. But I mean, who knows? I still think like a cool robot shooting game would be cool. You get a laser gun and you shoot. What about virtual Night Stalker and you're going through the 3D maze,
even if you did something like even if you did something like ski shooting, or you could even do a version of like a bowling style game or something with like pins that you try to
with the rifle
instead of a bowling ball or whatever. I don't know. You can come up with things. Shoot aliens. I don't care.
Yeah, I agree. Well, speaking of agreeing,
first contact and last contact.
That's right.
Let's see what we're going to agree on this, which is our first topic of the evening, and that is obscure games that need a comeback today. And I mean right now, today, by the end of this evening. No, just sometime this year.
I disagree with everything by default, sir. There, take that.
I'm gonna have Rab go first on this.
Oh, why?
Or I can let Nick go until you.
I think I came up with a list that we can talk about while Rab does some homework.
Okay.
Rab seems like he's squirming a bit.
How many do we want to go through?
I only got a couple, but I could probably mention two more. But I have a couple that I actually pulled that I want to talk about. But
I listed about 5 that I thought would be good, but I don't think there was a particular limit.
Sneed, right?
All right.
Solomon's Key is great. I got that in one of my arcade 19-1s. That's a great game, dude. That would be cool for like a remake. And it is an obscure game, but it's such a good one too. Mappy.
Great. All right.
I didn't have any like really super obscure ones. One of the ones that came to mind that I really need to put more time into, honestly.
Ooh,
never heard of F-Zero.
Rygar.
Is that Sega?
Dude, that was one of mine, but go ahead. That's awesome. That's great.
I think Rygar would be just the weapon idea behind Rygar. The fact that it does have a story and all that. Good. The one thing I find frustrating about Rygar is just the endless spawning enemies. It's a little frustrating. And the fact that you can pretty easily get lost in that game if you don't
After
really know what you're doing. But it's a good concept of a game. I think the idea is solid. I think the main character's cool looking.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's one of the ones that I would put up there. One of the ones that I
did
don't
you play the remake that they made?
I didn't even know they made a remake
for either the Xbox or the 360.
It was for the 360. I had it.
PS2 and PS3. I guess PS3 and 360.
I'll have to see if I can find that.
I used to have it back in the day. I barely remember it though. Like I played it for a bit and traded it because it's it's not the exact same. Yeah. But I mean, I might have to go back. Omega Race.
I think it was more of a
Demon Attack,
almost semi-isometric. I'm trying to remember. It
sounds kind of cool.
5-6 years.
I kind of like the idea of a side scroller on it, or
I did love the side. Well, and
or 2.5D, something like that.
They had the overhead. They had the overhead map view as well. For
Rygar. Well, yeah, because it was completely
for the original Rygar.
Yeah, because the Rygar arcade was like a completely different game, which the NES.
Yeah, I never played the arcade one. I played the NES one.
The NES is the better version, believe it or not. It has way more. It's a story where the other one was just action slash, and it was
I played a lot of the arcade version and then abandoned that, and the same day I got the Nintendo version. I was like, this is done. I'm spending all my time on it. And it was completely different, but it's still thematically the same and still the same tunes.
A lot of people thought the same thing about Contra.
Sounded so good.
Once it hit the NES, most people didn't even care for the arcade version.
And dude, I had TV Sports.
I like the NES version better than the arcade on that one.
Yeah.
I had a couple more on here. This one's from the Genesis era, and I never hear anybody talk about this game, but I had a lot of fun with it as a kid. It's a little hard to go back to now. Gain Ground.
Oh, yeah.
Why have I heard that? I've heard of Gain Ground or Gaining Ground or Gain.
And that was a Genesis game where you would be put on a
look at Creeps. Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. That sounds great. See, that's obscure.
20th Century Fox. It was fantastic.
Wow. Raft Rider.
Gain Ground was you were in a singular arena area that you had to find your way through to go from one end to the other to get to the next stage area. It was all taking place on one screen. There were different heroes that you could pick up on there, and they all had different ways of tackling the stage. Some were better than others. So if you died, you would use that one. If you ran out of them, you'd have to start all over again. Cool spot. Yeah. Decap Attack's another good one.
Decap Attack. Psycho Fox for the Master System was a good one.
Yeah, and for the fighter people out there, Power Stone.
Yeah. Yeah,
Power Stone's not that old, but they've not done a lot with it since
not that cheap. Yeah.
Yeah. And then anything Ghostbusters. We had one game on the 360. They've done a couple of isometric games. They're gonna do a VR game, but I would like to see another story-driven title.
Well, they got the new. What's the newest one where you can be the ghost, you can be the people, you can.
Yeah, that's the
Guardian Legend.
That's the asymmetrical one where it's
Answer the
basically
Call?
just a multiplayer one, and it might be Answer the Call. Yeah.
Is that the newest one where you're part of the Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Diner, dude, I love Diner.
And the last one I had was Rampage. That was big
good.
through the PlayStation era, but I think, and honestly, that's one that I think would be a good fit for the Amico because you're basically big monsters destroying a building, and it's really
and you're 4 players.
Yeah, you could do 4 players, and you could do more on the Amico if you wanted to, because it'll do 8 players. But it's just kind of a fun concept that I think's a good sit around the couch play kind of concept.
Karnov, is that what you were talking about? Was that Born?
Because that I think was Data East.
Yeah, Karnov I have for NES. That was gonna be one of my polls, but I was thinking way more obscure. I was thinking of stuff that most people...
with cognac.
With cognac.
Did somebody say cognac?
Little cognac with some Karnov.
I don't have any cognac tonight, but I do have scotch.
Well, I should get something. I don't have anything. I've been on just a water kick lately. I just kind of given up the drinking for this first part of the year.
I'm empty-handed tonight, so salute, gentlemen.
Yeah, salute. I mean, Rampage was... They had way more of them than I thought. I think they had one all the way up through, I want to say the game. And it was World Tour.
That's a good one.
And it just died.
Microsurgeon. Yeah. Microsurgeon is that is obscure and probably one of the coolest games ever. Impossible Mission, that was NES, right?
Yes.
I was going to say Golgo 13 was another weird one like that.
And then
I always say go to 31.
What is Crystallis?
Crystallis is an obscure NES game.
Yeah, okay. It's like
the Adventure of Lolo series.
Oh, they did one like a Dave and Buster's version, kind of like they did with the.
Ooh, that would be cool.
I would like to play that.
I might have to.
That is pretty awesome. Oh, Spy versus Spy.
Spy versus Spy, I don't think was nearly as popular after, because weren't they featured in Mad Magazine?
Yeah, they were a long-running series.
That was big, and comic book. I think they were in a. They had like they had one that had like all their comics in one book, or
they had their own book. They had their own books that were released, and I think they had their own cartoon or something in the early 2000s.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was pretty sure they kind of faded out when Men.
I think they kind of missed their market. No, this is.
So what do you got? What do you got, Rab? Kung Fu Master, good one.
I didn't have a lot of time to look in and kind of think about this one, so I went with like two systems. So I'm looking at like Game Boy and Atari, and what are some obscure, or maybe not so much, like they're obscure but they weren't like big hits and they're not on everybody's like wish list. So like what are some games I think that are like kind of unique for the time that really I think could provide something today? And starting with the Atari, I think one of my favorites on there is Turmoil, and you're this little ship, and basically if you think you basically have like 5-6 sets of corridors going up and down on either side of the screen, and you're right in the middle. So if you think about like a shoot 'em up, but you basically are flipping your ship to shoot to the right, shoot to the left, things are coming, you can't stay in one space too long, or like the system will send out like a killer wave that will come and just like devastate you. So you have to keep moving. You have to keep, kind of picking. Do you want to defend? Do you want to go and attack? To the left, to the right. It's very much Twitch gameplay. I have that game. I don't think there's anything out there like that where you kind of like just defend the center and just like, you've got waves coming from each side.
I have that game, dude. I haven't played it in forever. I literally have the physical Turmoil.
It's a fun game. I used to play it a lot as a kid. I haven't played it in a long time, but yeah,
I might have to delve back into that.
And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this was you were talking on Mondays after Smash, but you guys were showing Mission X, and like nobody knew that game existed. And they're like, this looks pretty cool. And then like people ended up voting for Vectron because it sounds pretty cool. Wait until they see how the gameplay is, because they're gonna be like, what?
Oh, yeah, the Vectron sounds fantastic. You're like, Vectron, anything with Tron is good. There's Megatron, there's Voltron, and then unfortunately there's Vectron.
But thinking about Vectron got me thinking of like the old, there was a Gottlieb game that came out in the arcades, and I think like Parker Brothers or someone put it out on the Atari, Reactor, where you've got a nuclear core, and you've got all these particles, and you are a little ship, and you're trying to get these particles and bounce them off of like cooling rods on the side of the screen, and you've got some containment units that you can kind of go and get these particles in to like keep them off your back, and they're trying to destroy you, and this reactor's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and if you can ping them in, it's basically like a weird variation of pinball, but this was on
Atari, you said?
This was on Atari.
Is it on the 50th?
I don't think so, because I think it's Parker Brothers and Gottlieb, so it would be licensed. So I don't think they got it on the 50th. But it's one of those things that's like, when you're a kid, you don't know what's going on, and it looks very simplistic and weird. But when you play it, it actually does have a lot of interesting gameplay value that I don't think there's much out there like that today. And I think it would be an interesting concept it doesn't have to be a nuclear reactor, but something like that you are, containing things or getting them out of your way and trying to like, handle this crisis. And it's very much just a very manic, frantic game.
Dude, Paradox Editor, the Horde on 3DO is awesome. And that's one of the ones I want to buy.
I don't know it.
That is one I want to buy because I'm really going to get into some 3DO stuff this year. There was Tron, there was Mazatron, exactly.
Here's another fun one that I think everybody can overlook that they tried to reboot, but they did a bad job of it. The 360 had 2 games come out, Overlord 1 and 2. It was sort of like Evil Pikmin, where... literally, it took the concept of Pikmin But instead of them being like little helpers, they're
your
little
minions.
goblins that are helping you try to take over the world.
Yeah.
And there was like 2 that were amazing, and then they brought out like a 3rd one. Not that I want to say.
I want to play Evil Pikmin,
and it wasn't all that amazing. It was a pretty big letdown. So I'd like to see that kind of revisited in more the original vein, just because it was a lot of fun. Like the little minions had great little personalities, and then you could choose like someone that you wanted to marry. And I say deliberately in air quotes, and then they would buff like 1 or 2 of your guys because there were like 4 different colors. That's why I said it was like Pikmin. You'd have like green, red, yellow, and blue ones that you would use, and they all had like different strengths and weaknesses and stuff. And it was all about trying to figure out how to use them to kind of take over things.
Atari Creep says he's going to ride a light cycle in April.
Nice.
Where are you doing this, and how, and why, and what? I want to see this. Will you be video?
He'll be in the game.
You got to videotape that, sir.
He'll be capture carded. So speaking of Mazatron, another one of my Atari segue was Maze Craze, one of the original Atari games. Just you are in a maze, player 2 is in a maze. It's a race to get out of the maze, but with what you can do with systems now, and as big as you can make the maze, you can make the maze move. You can put in, if you think about like Thunder Castle, where you've got turning,
everything kind of grows back together.
Yeah, things move, things pivot. The maze is changing. The maze is alive. It turns into something more like Labyrinth. Maybe you set traps. Maybe things are happening on screen. You can really buff it up and do things you could never have
set it
done.
Up like the cube.
Yes.
Or where you have like different rooms like that, or even have it almost be spherical, where as you move, things kind of turn and rotate in different angles where you can't quite see all of it. There's a lot of cool stuff you could do there.
Yeah, I mean, play with it, make it a 3-dimensional maze or something. I mean, there's a lot of room for that, and I don't think there's any games that are basically just escape the maze and you are seeing a physical maze.
There might be, maybe but they're probably obscure indie titles.
When I say there's not a game, there probably is a game on Steam and stuff. It doesn't enter kind of the zeitgeist. We don't really hear about like, ooh, that's a cool game. I can't
you're saying stuff that makes me want to play them. Like I want to play like some of those Atari games, and knowing that that's one of the like an early Atari game, like I'm my inbox as a collector, I want to get that in box now and play it as well.
My last 2 for the Atari. I'll get these out real quick. Pressure Cooker wasn't very obscure. It was an Activision game. There's a lot of them, but I don't think a lot of people have them today. And it was basically like a cross between Burger Time and like Overcooked today. You are manically making burgers and making stuff to order, and you basically have stuff coming out of like food chutes, like a Tapper, and you just have to, you got to make these burgers according to what's on order and get them,
that's kind of neat,
onto the bins. And I think it was just a 1-player game, and it would be nice to have that as like a 2-player game or make it more complex. Not too complex. I think with like Overcooked, things get too manic, but it's simple. It's very straightforward. You can like work with that, and you can build a little bit on that without going head over heels crazy. Like there's too much going on. I can't keep up with this. This is like beyond me. I think there's a happy medium for a game like that. And then my final Atari game was Frankenstein's Monster. I think that was a fun little game. No one has an IP existing. I don't think Mary Shelley is going to come back and sue anybody for using Frankenstein.
That was from anything after 1930, I think is public domain now, right?
Before 1933, yeah, but
copyright
laws.
I'm pretty sure Mary Shelley's already public domain.
Yeah, they're changing that. But also, like Disney is fighting to keep Mickey Mouse as like a special exception. So I mean, copyright laws change depending on the businesses that are advocating in court for or against it. So it might change. But that's something where you're, it's also a data age game, and I don't think they exist anymore. So the rights.
Have you seen the homebrew, the Frankenstein's Monster, the new one from last year?
No, I know there was one that they made for Intellivision. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I wanted to get it because it had a really cool black and white cover, and I missed out. I haven't. Well, unless there might be a couple still available, but it was the first time I ever seen the game and the gameplay, and I didn't because I never seen it on Atari.
It'd be nice to take that game and just make it a little deeper, where you go deeper into Frankenstein's castle, and you're looking for these, bricks or whatever to build the wall to keep the monster from getting out, or maybe the monster does get out, and then you have a part of the game where you are going and defending the villagers from his rampage, and you've got to bring him back or something. You could expand on that concept. Just great concept.
1010 was just saying Warlords would be good on the Amico.
They have a license for Warlords. I don't know if they'd started working on it, but it would be fantastic.
Yeah, for a 4-player. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I used to have a tabletop that had 4-player Warlords, and that gets intense. Simple games get intense. Was that yours?
Well, that's what's nice about some of the simpler games is you can make things really manic, and it's still approachable.
Yeah, and yeah, agreed. But yeah, Chuck, you go with yours. I'll save mine for another day. I'm sure this topic will come up again.
I can't believe we're already over a half hour in. So I'm going to pull up one.
When I say Munster,
the Munster, yeah. Frankenstein's Munsters.
That's my accent. Sorry.
So I am definitely going to say one that everybody knows when I say obscure NES stuff, because I pull this up at every topic we get when it says something about a game. And that is Robo Warrior by Jellicoe.
See, I almost said Robo Warrior to mess with your head.
I would. I mean, Rygar was.
I knew it was going to come up.
My money's on Airzonk.
But yeah, I would. That was my next. But like Robo Warrior is so cool because it's like I said, it's like an open world Bomberman, but you have the RPG elements where you're collecting candles, energy, batteries, stuff to kind of go over the terrain, boats to go over the water. You go into caves, which has different icons. Before you can leave, you have to seek out the chalice and find the chalice hidden in every level to advance. Then you got boss battles. So it's like, and I think on the Famicom, this was called Bomber. It was like Mission Bomber or something like that. I just looked because I was looking up this for Complete in Box. And oh, dude, Marble Madness all the way. Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually way back in the day mentioned Marble Madness as one that would fit good on the Amico just because of the motion controls.
Does Atari still have the rights to that?
Hat Fighter?
Because I haven't seen anything.
Did someone say Hat
Fighter? I saw that coming.
From a
right in the middle of rap talking as well.
No, go finish what you're saying, Rap. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say that you're. I wasn't saying anything. You're telling us your picks.
Just meow. This is another one I think I brought up a lot, and I'll kind of try to explain it. God, I just love this game and just the artwork of the game too. This was on PlayStation 1 and on 3DO, and it is a game called PO'd, where you are on a spaceship. You are on a spaceship, and you are a chef in the kitchen. Look at all the arsenal of weapons he's got right there. You can barely see it. There he is a little bit. And it's getting attacked by aliens, and it's killed the whole crew. You are
Master Chef.
Yeah, pretty much. And what happens eventually?
Kitchen evolved.
You get a jetpack, and this is like a 360-degree game. You could go up, look at the ceilings, up on platforms. You could fly above levels. You can go through the doors, elevators, anything. You know, there's like a basements in warehouses, and this huge starship. And Noah Bunga's Ambition. I don't know if I've ever heard of that.
Big strategy game.
But yeah, like I think this is a really cool concept, and I'm surprised it never got a sequel because it has a little bit of a cult following. I always thought the better version was 3DO, but they're pretty much almost identical on PlayStation and 3DO. It was kind of an early first person, so there is some pixelation there. It's, the frame rate's a little different back in those days, but as a concept, oh my God. So like what I would do is me and my friends, we'd play into it. We got pretty far. And then later on, we found a cheat that gave you the jetpack from level 1. So you could literally start flying around in level 1 and then you got a full arsenal of like heat-seeking missiles, and you had camera targeting missiles. So you would show the giant bazooka set up, and then it would go boom, and the torpedo would turn into a camera, and you could guide it and fly it around, and then you could aim it right toward. You could turn around and look at yourself hovering there with all those weapons. You could fly around, and you could just literally camera bomb right into whatever you want to shoot. And it was the coolest concept I've seen. I haven't seen something like that in a game at all since.
Unreal Tournament had a missile. Unreal Tournament had a missile that you would launch like that.
was like a camera guided, and you watched it right till it hit.
It was a camera guided missile.
That's awesome.
Yep. You were literally flying the missile. It left you completely vulnerable while you were firing it because you weren't doing anything else, and since it was a tournament shooter, it was kind of risky to use.
Yeah.
But it has like all these different alien guns. But
that's why you need
start
the
off.
Sticks.
And chopsticks would be cool.
Yes.
You start off
with
video
game chopsticks.
Your only weapon at the very beginning when you find out that the aliens have invaded is a metal frying pan, and you are clonking them until they're dead with a frying pan, and it's the funniest thing ever.
I'm getting flashbacks from the movie Tangled where they're beating the crap out of everybody with a frying pan. And finally he's like, frying pans, right? Who knew?
Right. They're just a great weapon. I guess I would, and someone mentioned this earlier, I was going to pull it out, but I guess it is sort of, I don't know if it was obscure at the time, but maybe now it is.
Shout out to our Disney princess connoisseurs.
Is Cool Spot. I would love to see a Cool Spot game come back. And then Rygar was my other one. There was one more, and I don't know if it's obscure, but if you remember,
to this crowd, none of them are obscure.
It's a Data East. But yeah, I know that's like we say that like but to what's up, Retro Dude?
Hey,
good to see you, man.
Hey, Carl.
Breakthrough Data East game. Arcade game, great. I first was introduced on the NES.
I think I played that on the Evercade.
Evercade has it on there. They have
That's a cool little game.
It's a great game.
It's really hard, but it's surprisingly fun.
The NES, they had the arcade version on there, I think. But the NES version is actually the one I'm more familiar with, and I just know how to land and when to jump at the right time. But it was I beat this game, and back when I was a kid, probably couldn't do it now because I suck compared to when I was a kid and played it every single moment of every day. But this, I would love to see a new series of Breakthrough because I don't think there ever was after that. But anyways, that's mine. I know we're really far in here, so let me.
Magic Carpet sounds like an educational series I had to watch.
Topics.
Oh, 2D Gauntlet too would be cool.
Yes.
Skyline and Sunset.
Actually, Gauntlet Legends.
Quartet is good.
Like to see.
Ooh, Quackshot. Quackshot would be another Disney. If you're talking about Disney stuff, Donald Duck's Quackshot, where you're shooting the plunger guns and climbing on the plungers, using them as ladders, using them as weapons. That was an awesome game too.
Just
that was one of my
because they remade Night Trap, I'd like to see them remake Super Shark.
Yeah, why not? Did you see the prices of 3DO games? I thought they were literally 2 years ago next to nothing. Night Trap is like $300 to $400 right now for Night Trap, and Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
It was pretty expensive a couple years ago because which
I know Jan will love.
I'd looked to get a few, and I was like, nope, I'm not getting in this yet. I'll wait until I'm in my 80s and that market is dying off.
Well, that's our next one after this is our bucket list, our very last topic. Sewer Shark Redone. See, I remember playing it. It was full motion video. It was kind of neat. Night Trap 2. But anyways, what is broken in gaming these days but that you could fix by just waving a magic wand? What would you fix right now in gaming that you feel is broken? Nick.
Mine are more just complaints of things that they just do too much of. It's not necessarily that they need to go away completely.
All right, guys, older guys complaining about modern gaming.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which popcorn?
I feel like there's just too many roguelike games and too many Souls-like games right now. Those are two complaints. Like everything's trying to be a Souls game and everything's trying to be a roguelike, and they're trying to mash the two together, and I feel like it's just too much.
I don't even know what those are. That's how bad I am.
Roguelikes have been around for a long time, dude. Since like 1980. Rogue is essentially a game where you have like permadeath. Once you die, you're done. Everything is randomly generated or procedurally generated.
Okay. That makes sense. I just didn't know that was.
They really picked up around like 2010, 2012.
They're really a big
the rise of indie gaming.
Yeah, indie gaming is a real big fan of it. Souls-like games are like from Software games, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, that kind of stuff. Everything's trying to do this Souls difficulty level of gaming, and I feel like it's kind of overdone too much and doesn't need to be done as much as it is. I don't need to beat my head against a boss for 8 hours on every game I pick up these days. It's just too much. And the last two things it has, crafting feels like it's just shoehorned into everything. That's a big problem. Like
I used to love crafting, but now it feels there's too much of it. It doesn't
it's
feel
just
special. It
shoehorned
feels like
in.
busy work.
Yeah, and the last thing is like, and this really hit home when I went through Sonic Frontiers. The leveling systems in everything. Like, why in the freaking heck am I leveling Sonic? Like, I never needed a leveling system for Sonic before. Now I need a leveling system?
Because with crafting and because with achievements and because with padding in all of these games and trying to get as much value or perceived value as you can out of the game. I mean, they have, are you going to get 50 hours out of this game? Are you going to get 80 hours out of this game? So they're putting in so many of these repetitive tasks and crafting and level this and, kind of gatekeeping your gate locking your progression until you can level to that point and then you can go on. It's always been there in gaming. I just think it's kind of
I do feel
infiltrated
like
a
it's being
lot.
forced into things. Like Gotham Knights used it too. You
Yeah.
have to like level up all your gear. Well, the first three Arkham games, you didn't have. I mean, you had like you'd open up like new gadgets and stuff, but you didn't really have like a leveling system in the truest aspect, right? So it worked there, and it kind of fit with you being able to get new gadgets as you went along, or going and picking them up because you didn't bring them initially because you're trying to travel light, so to speak. But it just feels overused, and the crafting oftentimes just feels shoehorned into things, not a main focus, and that's when it's the most annoying.
It's one of those things that I think it made sense with certain games. If you were playing like an RPG or like a grand adventure, then the leveling system kind of makes sense because you are growing with the character and you want them to grow in these certain ways. But you're not expecting Sonic to grow as a character. You're not expecting him to grow out of his, teenage angst phase.
Actually, if you want to have him grow, having him grow emotionally a little
would
bit
be a nice step, yes.
That would be a great step.
You're seeing this put into all of these games where you may have like some scripted growth and storyline. You don't necessarily need to grow that character. If you're taking them through the story, then the story progression is the game, not the leveling of the character. If you don't have such a strong story and it's more just like explore and immerse yourself in this world and your character kind of grows and it's 100, 200 hours that you pour into this game, then yes, it's interesting to see the character progression and the growth and the unlocking of new things as you go, as you're spending all of your time invested in this game. I just think it gets used. It's one of those like trade-offs. Like, yes, you can put this in the game, but then you're not going to be worried about other things. Like this becomes a central point of play, and it tends to be just one more thing you have to do, and it just feels extra.
Can I add one more?
That's my biggest problem with it. When it fits the game, do it.
Can I add one thing into this really quick?
Yeah,
just want to add this really quick.
That was a level 75 General Meow.
Yes.
There you go. That's I just had
that. You need to hit level 80 before you can go to the next level.
That is a game you want to invest in leveling your characters.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And I've even seen them work it into fighting games where like
and Assassin Kitty is crafting stuff over there.
He crafting your Doom.
Kill her hairballs.
That's right. I mean, I've seen leveling systems and character building systems work even in fighting games. Mortal Kombat had a whole area where you'd explore with this one character, and the character developed as you went along. And then when you finished, you unlocked that character to play in the main game. That's a great idea. I'd like to see more of stuff like that come in. Yeah. If you want to add in little extras like that, that's a fantastic idea. But there's a lot of times where it's just done because it's a by the numbers kind of thing.
And it's kind of, to an extent, it's always been that way. You see what's working and you copy, oh, that's cool, I'm going to put that into my game. Or this is how this kind of game is done, so we want to make sure we do that. And this is kind of just the overreach of scope that some of these games go through when they're growing so big and taking so long to do, because they're shoehorning all of this stuff that they think they have to have. And I think we should be, I think, a little more ready to grab something that is, I guess, more simple and like, okay, they do this one thing really well, and that's what it's focused on, and it doesn't do these other 12 things. That's okay. We don't have to have all of that stuff in our game, because if we want all that stuff, it's going to take 7 years to build that game, and it's going to be super costly, and that's going to be other games that studio is not making. So we're losing out on different experiences by demanding that it have everything in it.
Well, and you can start working things like that in as they fit with the story arc you want to do in different games, right? Like, say, this one works off this concept, so you keep that key concept. Maybe you add, like, one other thing in there and see how that works, right? But you take time in building a reason around it. Too many times, like, especially with, like, open world games, and Sonic Frontier suffers for this in the opposite direction of there's just too much stuff to do. Like GTA 5.
64.
There's so much crap there. And a lot of it's just filler to kill time between when they want to give you your next main mission. Well, Sonic Frontier says it's same kind of grind, but they only have like one thing for you to pick up.
But I think like something like GTA 5, it's like such an immersive game. They just want you to be able to pour 1,000 hours into that game and not get bored in doing all of those little tasks and side missions and everything.
And that's fair.
Brian makes a good point right here. Because I do want to hear from chat what you guys think is broken. Broken in gaming, does physical media exist anymore? Everything requires large downloads to work these days.
That's true.
I also, as a collector, and call it old school or not, because I even think new school people want physical stuff. They want something collectible. They want something, for the most part. I know some people could care less, but a lot of gamers want something physical on their shelves. To have even just something to represent that game, or a collectible, or some box to say, hey, I own this game, I think is a great thing. So I agree. Physical gaming and less giant downloads. Yeah. What's broken? Justy says what's broken in gaming is digital games. Yeah,
and I think it's only going to get worse. I saw something that was like 72% of gamers now buy their games digital.
Yeah, most everybody's buying digital, and I buy a lot of digital, but I also buy physical.
It went over 50% a few years back, and it's becoming the way it is.
My whole thing on that, just because I know we're kind of running short on time, I just want to add one little thing about what would be broken I'd fix would be I know this is a big subject, everyone. Hey, what's happening, Seeks?
Subscription services and Game Pass.
I was going to say water grading.
I'm actually going to have a discussion on that at some point on Retro Roots.
Awesome.
You're welcome to come on to that. I know Panda Sub's
I saw your last episode, so yeah, that's that.
Panda Sub's jumping at the bit for that one. Mike is not looking forward to it.
I feel if I go on, I may be ganging up on Mike.
That they're doing on these games that are literally like I understand doing a WADA grading if you found a Spiker Super Pro Volleyball because it's so friggin' rare. I can understand if you found a Bonk's Adventure NES sealed in box because it's so, even though it's a terrible version, it is so friggin' rare. I understand WADA grading that. But if you're going to WADA grade Contra for the NES, the loose cartridge, that's just stupid. If you're going to do the, something like that. The thing that blew my mind, which started this was that Pawn Stars episode when someone brought in a boxed NES Super Mario Brothers. Amico. Well, I missed that. I'm sorry. What?
Oh, about like if physical games go out, they could still put the QR code or something that could engage in a physical product.
That's what I was talking about. Exactly. But yeah, like when they did that Pawn Stars, I think. Yeah, let's go back to carts, dude. I'm so about that, right?
The Switch does it, and people bag on that system all the time. But for the most part, I
like the Switch.
The majority of your game content is on that cart.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons I always buy physical on the Switch.
Same.
Because when I buy it, I know almost all of my content is going to be on that cart. Now, there's some stuff that has to be downloaded. Like, there were a ton of characters added to Smash. I think the Bayonetta cart, when you bought it, I think Bayonetta 1 had to be downloaded.
There's no getting away from the digital interface and the digital delivery of part of the games or access to games. But I think the concern, especially with these digital storefronts, the Wii U digital store going down, the 3DS digital store going down, I think in 2 months, you lose access to that. And moving forward, there's no promise that Sony, I mean, Xbox has been pretty good. Microsoft has been pretty good about their legacy content and keeping backwards compatibility and kind of moving that stuff forward. Sony's done a decent job of that. Nintendo is kind of cut it off with Wii, cut it off with the 3DS, cut it off with the Wii U. Now we have Switch libraries. And is that going to be moving forward with their next system?
Yeah.
They wanted
the
to
other one that's done a really good job
of
making sure your content stays usable is Steam. Steam's amazing at it. That's why I'm on PC. I'm totally okay with everything being digital because the two main people I buy from are Steam and Blizzard. And Blizzard almost always makes sure all their stuff continues to work moving forward, and you'll always have access to it so long as you log in. And Steam is the same way. So they've made it very reliable and conducive for me to be comfortable buying digital. Console makers have not shown me that yet.
No more Banjo.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's move on to our next topic, which is our bucket list item or items. Is the new WS? Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You don't say.
Yeah, it's this giant font below us here. 2023 bucket list items. Like, what is your grail? If you could get this year, what would be your ultimate grail? Whether it be a toy or a game or just anything collectible at this point, you know?
Did we talk about that last week?
No, we were talking about what we were going to focus on collecting. I'm talking about you have unlimited funds. This is your bucket list. Like this is like, I'm about to die this year, and this would be terrible. But this is the thing I've never had. I always wanted. This is my grail.
Well, one of mine I'm already getting. Because my Prime trailer that shipped, and it'll either arrive tomorrow or Friday, which will be
that's the transforming trailer for Optimus Prime.
Yes. So that shipped. So that's pretty dope.
Dude.
Now, if I was going to go hypothetical, like I could have like any collection or anything and had room to store it. My first real gaming love was the NES, so probably a full NES collection, along with the zapper and just all the accoutrement, just to have all of it. Probably my next one might be probably get with the Turbo Graphics because a lot of that stuff is hard to get my hands on. And the more I dink around with that library, the more cool niche stuff I find in that I want to explore more. So that's probably why on that one. I almost said Saturn, but Saturn has a couple games on that library I really want, but I think there's more I want to deep dive into Turbo Graphics.
Oh, dude, Atari creep. Dude, thanks for the super, man. That's awesome of you. You're such a
thanks, Chris.
Awesome, dude. The Grail is Atari video music. Oh, got it. Yo, wicked fun.
The audio visualizer.
Man. Later, Atari creep. Thanks for popping in.
Is that a super? That must be the super rare. Is that the Spiker of Atari, or is that just like a?
No, but there was not very many made.
Ooh, like Nintendo Switch demo cartridge.
They made it and it didn't sell well, so they didn't keep it out very long. It was expensive.
The Intellivision KC. Rab, what was yours? Did you?
I didn't understand the question.
Just like your whole, like if you had,
I didn't fully understand the question.
It's a bucket list, meaning
games you want to beat this year or something.
Yeah.
It's bucket list, meaning like
things you wanted to do this year.
The main thing in your life you want to attain, like that you want to get, and it was happening this year. If you had $1 million, zillion, $1 trillion, what would you get?
I would get an Atari fire truck cabinet.
Yes, dude. We gotta have a party. Nick's gonna have the full Turbo Graphics set. You're getting Atari Fire Truck, which is one of my favorite arcades of all time. I say we make a party of this bucket list.
I would just be approaching people on the street, like, you got to come play Fire Truck with it. They're just coming and like standing behind, like, can I ride in the cab? Like, no, I am in cab. You don't understand. I spent all my childhood in back. I am in the cab.
You're in the cab. It was me and my cousin used to play the heck out of that at the arcade and laugh. I don't know why it was just so laughed because when you crashed, it didn't say crash, it went crunch.
So, yeah, that would be that would be my bucket list item for this year if I had unlimited funds.
Oh man, mine would mine was between two things, and believe it or not, it wasn't to fulfill the the Spiker or the Intellivision thing, because I'm pretty close to that. And what am I going to do if I get Spiker? Look at it, because it's two things, but it is bucket list items, plural. So I can add another. So it would be what Nick said, the full TurboGrafx library. I'm talking about Japan and North America. And then I would do, every arcade game I wanted, which I already have a bucket list ones of those, which would be Super Punch Out, the dual monitor Super Punch Out. A fire truck would be one of them. An original Universal arcade cabinet of Mr. Do.
Mr. Do.
There's so many. I have one that it's a kit. It's a Mr. Do kit. It's real, but it's not. It's not
on your Mr. To Do list.
It's on my Mr. To Do. Mr. Do list. And then that
was a Mr. Doozy.
That's a doozy. That's a Mr. Doozy. Oh my god, these puns are killing me.
You guys are going to chase me out. Oh my god, Rab, it's Frankenstein's monster
with a pooping flamingo. So
yes,
I mean. By the way, did that?
I was just gonna say I never got anything. You guys said that there was something coming.
It's. I think it's still on its way.
Okay.
My wife was checking on it because she was the one that bought it, and she giggles every time she looks at it. So she's looking forward to seeing you with it. I think more than anybody else.
Oh, I will. Like I said, I will dress up in a suit and sip martinis from it. I guarantee you that.
She's got to get online. That will be happening on the next. I think Phoenix Panda's waiting too.
Well, anyways, so I was gonna say, let's end this poll here. Hold on. What are we at the poll? So if anyone hasn't voted, we're at 70 votes. So get them in within the next 1 minute or 30 seconds here. So we had the best early NES light gun games. Right now, 61. It's not even a contest, folks.
Duck Hunt is running away with it, isn't it?
61% Duck Hunt.
Gumshoe
as a second. Good for Gumshoe.
Good on you, Gumshoe.
Gumshoe did not look like one of the more interesting ones. It is
probably a rarer
one. A game and not just a shooting gallery kind of thing. So I guess I can kind of see that.
Yeah, because it's a platformer. It's one of those things where I could see something like that work. Like I would have thought, like the Rob would have had some sort of game like that where it had to do something for you to like jump over or do something, climb, kind of,
I feel like when they designed
Gyromite and stack them up.
Yeah, I feel like when they designed Rob, they realized he wasn't going to be able to do anything like that effectively because of how slow he was.
Yeah, they did.
I picked Gumshoe by accident. I love that.
They knew it was dead end. They knew it was just to get their foot in the door. But still, I feel like they could have eked out 2 or 3 more games out of him if they really sat down and thought about it.
Yeah, I think they could have done something cool and fun with it if they had really tried with it. But I mean, it did exactly what they wanted it to do, which is to make it look like a toy and to get the console.
Take care, Justy. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Good to see you,
Justy.
But anyways, what do you got coming up on Geeks with Cash and or the Geek Storian?
Well, if this shows up, I might try to find some room to be able to film that trailer. That would be fun. And that would be a way to actually start getting some content out on the Geeks with Cash channel, which is kind of on my bucket list of stuff to do for 2023.
Hey, there's a good bucket list.
Kind of dovetail back into the original thing. It's just a matter of having time to be able to manage both channels, which is honestly quite difficult. Today I launched a video on the Game Boy camera on the Geek Storian channel. I launched one on adventure games, kind of focusing more on point-and-click adventure games on Monday. I'm actively working on writing up an evolution of fighting games video to kind of start building onto that evolution of platformers I did. I kind of want to hit on more of those. I think that's a good topic idea, but they take a long time to write up. So I wouldn't expect to see that one soon. So all that's kind of coming up. I kind of want to get a little bit more active on streaming. I just don't feel like I often have the time to stream right now. It's easier for me to spend some time writing or spend a little bit of time editing than it is to dedicate 2 straight hours to streaming. So it's difficult to do those outside of Retro Roots, which is. We had a great show last night. If you guys missed it, Monday rather.
I did.
On collecting woes, essentially, which didn't really dive too much into too many woes, but we had some caveats and things that we really kind of wanted to kind of talk about. And it was a good discussion anyway. Everybody had a really good time. So that's kind of what's going on in my little neck of the woods right now.
Rab, what you got going?
I spent all of an hour working on video editing over the past week since you last asked me that question. I've been so busy putting together new furniture and new shelves.
We should get a video.
Got a new island
furniture and shelves.
No. You want to drive your audience down to zero?
We'll debut it on the show.
So I've been busy.
I don't know. We can make content out of that.
Yeah.
Ooh, he's trying to insert the screw. Oh,
he's got the screw cover on.
There goes the screwdriver again, and he's outside pacing again.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's putting on the final coat. This is the final coat. We told you this would be exciting.
The grain of the stain with the screw cover. Can he line it up so you can't see the screw? Oh, off by a millimeter. I can already see the commentary. Everything is going to be great.
So I've been pretty busy with that. I found a little bit of time to do some edits and stuff when my kids are in like gymnastics or swim. So there's a little bit of stuff moving forward. I'm looking forward to this next week. My in-laws are coming this weekend, so it's going to be a little bit busy, but I'm hoping to be able to move some stuff forward before long, because I'm like, stuff was there, stuff was moving forward. I was looking like things are going to happen in the next soon, and it's been like just delays since the holidays. So yeah,
dude, I'm still reeling for the holidays, so I feel you there, man.
Yeah, I spent them sick. Like everyone in my family, we just like cycled through like one flu and then another one.
Lit me up for weeks, man.
It started like when I went out that show right before, I guess it would be the show before Christmas. And I went out and I came back, and my youngest was like just a little quiet, and she had started, and then everyone took turns like 3 days with the crud.
Well, I want to ask. I want to thank everyone for being awesome.
Sorry about that segue.
Hey, no, it worked out perfect. John says, "Rab,
everybody's puking." Well, that's a show.
No, but I do appreciate everyone, and I want to say, let me get this giant font off here. I want to say thanks for just being respectful to everyone in chat and everything. Like I said, we're going to be a little more curated, but I think it's going to make for a better time. Thanks for being silly, everyone. Exactly. You always want to be silly and be a part of the silly club. Just hit join underneath. You can be a silly club with crazy emojis. Craziness. Another thing I wanted to kind of to do is if anyone wants to send any pictures of their collection, some rare games, that you want us to show on the show. So if maybe you have a Spiker Super Pro Volleyball on your Intellivision collection, maybe you got a cool homebrew. What's up, Level 857? Good to see you, man. God, it's been forever.
I did not go to their channel.
Their
show is on like right before ours, so I'm like doing prep and sending kids to bed.
So
they have a great
show. Check theirs out before ours. But anyways, yeah, I would love. I invite anyone to if you have like something rare you want to show. Mr. Matthews, what's happening?
Hey,
Retro Roots guy.
This guy not so much, but Level 857 is really good.
But anyways,
Mr. Matthews is incredible too.
The email.
Matthews under the bus.
The email is.
I had to hit somebody. Sir.
He totally does.
The email is djcgamestudios@gmail.com. Once again, DJC Game Studios, who would have known, at gmail.com. And you send us like a picture of your awesome collection or something rare, and we'll pull it up on the show, and we're going to talk some rarities and stuff next week, so it should be really fun. As far as Amico news, I know we are just waiting. We are waiting to hear about manufacturing. That's where we are. I think everybody's kind of aware of that there's not about a bajillion videos out there about stuff, right? But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. So if we hear something, then it'll be about that. But we're also going to speak about rarities, rare games, kind of what we did today, the grails. So if you have some pictures, feel free and share with us anything you'd like. djcgamestudios@gmail.com. And hey, that sounds good, my friend. I'd love to show up there on the show, man. Let's talk some games. Let's talk Robo Warrior for the NES, the most underrated, amazing, beautiful, fun time game ever. I guess now I work for Jalico. But anyways,
and as always, DJC's taken a few too many hits to the head.
Yes, I did. I took too many hits to my beach head.
Oh no!
Nice. We'll see you, folks.
Somebody do a fun joke, please. I can't end on that.